What's happening, guys? We're back, and today we got a side project to do because, you know, we're making so much progress on our main project. Figured we'd have a little distraction, but obviously we don't have room in my shop to do much of anything. So our first step is we gotta head over to the annex, show you what we're working with. And welcome to the annex. This is our secondary shop. This is where we work on basically anything that doesn't fit in my little fab shop at home. Mostly side-by-sides, dirt bikes, done the brakes on my truck and whatnot here. Today we're gonna be working on one of those side-by-sides. Unfortunately, it's the one right at the back, so let me move some stuff around. All right, this is the machine we're gonna be working on today. So this is my 2018 RZR 900S. It's been a great machine for, oh God, what's this now, 6 years? We use all these machines. We got 3 RZRs and an RMAX. We use all these machines to go out riding in the foothills here in Western Alberta. Have a ton of fun out there, but where we ride is way out of cell service, really deep bush. You can ride the whole day without ever seeing somebody. You're typically riding in a pack, but if something happens, you're a long way from support. So we outfit these machines all to carry everything to be as self-sustaining as possible. So we're typically traveling with extra fuel, tool kits, extra winch line, snatch blocks, all kinds of gear. But none of these machines have a spare tire on them. So we do carry plug kits and air compressors. So if we have a puncture or we blow a tire off the bead, which we've had both happen, we can fix those, but we don't have a spare. So there was actually a situation last year, I think. That machine, the 800S, was out and the driver hit a really sharp rock and sliced the sidewall wide open. In that situation, there's no way to fix that tire. The only thing you can do is replace it, but they didn't have a spare, so they were able to limp it out of the bush and make a trip back to the trailer where they did have a spare tire, and they were able to get it fixed, but it kind of highlighted that we should probably have a spare tire somewhere on these machines. So we're gonna build a spare tire mount for this RZR today. Here's the plan. So here's the plan. We got a whole spare set of tires. These machines run a staggered setup, so they're 9 wide in the front, 12 wide in the back, but we're just gonna carry a front with us because we can run it anywhere. The RMAX actually runs slightly taller tires. It's got 29-inch tires versus these are 27s, but in a pinch, we could put the 27 on the RMAX and at least get it out of the bush. So I think that's the ideal tire to bring with us. We could just put it in there just like that. We could just throw it in the back of the RZR and throw a strap around it and it'd be fine. But it takes up all the cargo space. So you can't haul like a cooler or a gear bag or anything else in there. It also sits right on top of the engine hatch. So if you ever have to get into that, you gotta take the tire out, etc., etc. So instead, what I'm thinking is we mount this kind of like that. Vertical, so we save all this, I know you guys can't see it, but we save all this cargo space to put other stuff in it. It also moves the tire a little bit rearward, which is nice on these the RZRs. They like a little bit of rearward weight, so that you can try to get that front end up over some of the bumps. And I think it looks cool. So we're gonna mount it here. There is a design, hang on. Perfect. There is a design online that I've found that mounts the tire kind of in this position. And essentially it's just a clamp that comes off of this harness bar and a bar that comes back does a 90-degree bend, and then goes into the hub. I like that design. I think it's nice and simple. The problem I have with it is all the weight of the tire is held on by just one clamp off of this harness bar. So we're gonna mimic that design. We're gonna build that bar, but we're also gonna run a secondary brace that goes up, all the way up to that, I can't quite reach, up to that roll cage bar, and that'll take kind of the vertical load and spread it across. So we're gonna need 2 bars. I'm thinking this one, we'll put a 90-degree bend in it. We already have a steel plate built with wheel studs in it, so we can weld right to there, come out, do a 90-degree bend, and then shoot forward to the harness bar. And then we might have to put a slight bend in that one that's coming from the top, or it might just be vertical. We'll have to kind of play that by ear. So, next step on this build is we need to bend some tubing. Unfortunately, we don't have anywhere to mount the tubing bender here at the annex. So we have to go back over to my shop and bend some tubing. So I'll see you guys there. Oh, of course you are. The holes are right underneath the car. This is heavy, put it on your toes. Should have taken some measurements. Oh well. The hell? Okay. 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 Ugh. You right here. Sure, why not? Good a spot as any. All right, if that seems like a lot of work just to put one little bend in, it was. But we needed that bend. So now, load all this back up again, back to the annex. Should have my man jammies on when I'm doing this. Two would probably be good, but where would I put the other two screws? Put them in my pocket, and then I'd lose them. And I'd have to steal some out of the other clamps, so I don't have spares. Seems like this is easier. Come on. Scratch all the paint off. There we go. Gotta take off like 8 inches. Ay. That works pretty good. It's gonna fall on my head, I'm sure, but now it works good. See, we're trying to match that kind of roll bar angle right there. So, and then we're also kind of trying to match this body line here so that the whole tire's tilted a little in this way and in that way. All while keeping it as low as possible, but not in the box, so we can still get the tire off when we need it. Might be a hair high, but I think that's good. I think we're good there. We can drop it down once we have that mount built because it'll rotate on that clamp. So now we just need to get this bar to go from that clamp to that plate. Let's give it a go. All right, so we got everything tacked up. This is essentially the same design as I think HMF makes one of these. Just the clamp and the pipe and then out to your mounting plate. Super simple. I'm a little bit concerned about all this weight back here. So initially I was either gonna run a bar up to that top roll cage bar like that to kind of triangulate this, or I thought about running one just kind of straight down and resting it in the cargo area like a foot. Either one of those options I think would work, but I think what we're gonna try is we'll just loosen those clamps off and drop the tire down until it rests on the box side, and then just use that for support instead. I mean, it's just doing the same thing, right? So then we wouldn't have to do all that triangulation, and it would just, the bar would just hold the tire here, and then all the weight would get supported on that plastic piece. So let's loosen that clamp off and see if we can do that. I apologize for the vent. That's one of the problems of filming at the annex. If it's windy out, that thing flutters and makes a bunch of noise, but just ignore it. I think that works pretty good. So the tire does sink into the box a little bit here, so I'm not sure if you'd actually be able to pull this straight off, but all the weight gets supported over here, and then this clamp is basically just holding it upright. So I think once we weld that up solid, that'll be just fine. We don't need to add that triangulation in at all. So we'll unbolt that, we'll take it back to my shop, do all the finish welding on it, and probably go get it powder coated. So back to my shop. All right, we're far from our best welds, but I think they'll work. I didn't do a good job of fit up, so I had some big Grand Canyon sized gaps to fill, and I did a really terrible job of the notch on this guy. So honestly, I probably should have just MIG'd it. It would have been easier to fill those gaps, but I like TIG welding better. So it's done. I think it'll be more than strong enough. I was gonna come in here and put in some like triangle braces to stiffen this plate up, but I figure once the wheel is bolted on here nice and tight, it should take all the flex out of this plate anyhow. So I'm gonna call that a job well done, and we're gonna go get it powder coated because it would look a whole lot better black. So we'll see you guys when that's done. All right, the part is back from powder coat. It's nice and black and shiny, and it is not here. So I actually got excited when I picked it up, and on the way home I stopped over at the annex there and mounted it up on the machine, and I didn't have my camera, so you guys are just gonna have to imagine me doing up the 8 bolts that it takes to mount a spare tire in that. But I did have my phone, so I'll put some photos of it. Looks great. I think it'll work great. It's a little simpler than I thought I was gonna do, but I think being able to rotate the tire back and just set it on the box sides will work great. And you know, simplicity is the mother of all inventions. So I love it. It's great. Unfortunately, we also have a newer RZR S, and it has like a rear roll cage thing that will not allow that spare tire mount to go into the new RZRs. So we might be looking at doing another mount for that machine. But
anyhow, that was a fun little side project. I think we got to get back on the car, so I'm gonna get after that, and we'll see you guys next time.